Hey guys, this is the video breakdown of the Pokeball Time Lapse. If you haven't seen it yet, the link to that video is in the description. So let's get started. So in the first few minutes into modeling this Pokeball, I'm trying to get a rough shape with the cylinder and extruded plane to try to get the shape right of my Pokeball before I start destroying the topology of my icosphere. After I was done planning it out, I grabbed the first hex in the center and Control Plus until the size matched my reference outside. I then used the circle loop tool and extrude it inwards. And if you don't have loop tools turned on, they're a built-in add-on to Blender. You can go to Preferences, to Add-ons, and just search for loop tools, check the box, and then save your settings, and they should be enabled. So after extruding inwards, it was time for the gap or the hinge of the ball where if it were to open and release a Pokemon, that's where it'd be. What you're going to do with that one is you're going to grab the whole outside of the ball and scale it inwards to match the extruded button on the inside. So then your cleanup is a lot easier and your retopology of your ball is smooth. So after that, you're pretty much done modeling your Pokeball unless you're going into a little bit more detail than I did. So since the ball is pretty much done already, the rest of it is just texturing the ball or shading the ball. In my case, I didn't use any texturing, I just shaded the ball. So let's talk about giving it the M and the art on top of the ball without actually using a texture. For the M, we're going to use the subdivide modifier, and shrink wrap modifier. But before that, we need to create the M with the text tool and convert it into a mesh with Alt-C. After you convert it into a mesh, you have to do some retopology because the mesh is a mess. It should be flat faces. There should be no edges splitting right across the middle. So after you've cleaned that up a bit, you need to set its origin to the center of the geometry with Control-Shift-Alt-C. And then after that, we can subdivide it with the simple toggle and subdivide it maybe 2-3 times. And that will add a few more squares to its topology. After that, we can move it to the center of the Pokeball and use the shrink wrap modifier. And it's very important that this object is inside the Pokeball, not on the outside. So when you do that, you're going to move and scale your M to the shape that you want it, and move it close to the inside surface so that when it projects, it'll project outwards. And after you're done doing that, you're going to change your offset a bit so that it sticks out above the surface just slightly. And that, for me, was negative 0.002. But you can play with it to get the number that you want. For the Great Ball and Ultra Ball, we're using the Boolean tool to intersect the shapes at the top of a duplicated Pokeball. So what I mean by that is that we're taking another mesh, like a square or the H shape that you see me using, and we're placing that on top of a copied Pokeball. And we're selecting the duplicated Pokeball, applying the Boolean modifier to it, and selecting intersect. And then the shape that is on top of the Pokeball, we're going to use that shape. And what will happen is that Pokeball will turn into just that shape, and we're going to use that shape on top of the original Pokeball. Now, if you don't like the idea of it sticking up just slightly, you can use that original shape as a difference modifier on the original Pokeball, and it'll knock that exact same hole so that they can sit flush with each other. But you can still get two different objects. And if you want them to move together, you can set them as a parent of the other object. Now, a thing with boolean tools, the boolean modifier, it's probably one of the most picky modifiers in Blender. So if it doesn't work right and you get some weird shape like you're seeing right now, then there's something wrong with the mesh of the object you're using to cut out that shape. So if you have a face splitting right through the middle like I do with this H, then it's going to create this funky shape, so the intersect's not actually working correctly. Once you correct the topology on the H, then the Boolean tool should work correctly. If you got all the way through the video, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe and see more videos like this, hit that button. And if you hated it or liked it, you know what to do.